Hope my dark face can be seen. Okay. This is not my usual location. Okay, it's not my usual location. And I hope that I am also audible. Many of the things that we'll be able to do in life will require us to be consistent. There's a way that the Apostle Paul preached consistency in the Bible. Some people call it a good book. And it says that in season and out of season, he was admonishing about something in particular, and he said, pray in season, pray out of season. He was preaching consistency as a value that Christians must uphold, and that is what happens when you have to do things in and out of, whether there is plenty of everything that you have always known to be comfortable or not. Okay, so I'm hoping that this can help the brightness slightly more. Alright, so like I said, it's not from my usual location, and I just wanted to do something little today. Last week Friday, I did not or could not make the Mind Your Characters show because there were a few, people call it glitches, and knowing myself or who I am, I'm a dogged fighter. I don't agree that something cannot be done too easily if I eventually ever agree. So after much trying, I found out it could not be done. So yeah, at that point I had to let go. Okay, so today I'm just coming in from a training not long ago where Sentinel to do a training for them. So I just had to look for where is most sane to have this chart. So it's going to be a chart, and I'm very, very grateful to God for the anniversary of RCV. So don't worry if it gets a bit too dark. I don't know, I can see the thing is flipping its color the way it likes. But let's see how we can make this an interesting Friday. And I also don't have my power song anywhere today. Alright. So you all know how much I love that music. Okay, and now I think that network is adding its own flavor to the entire thing. Maybe I'll try to change where I am doing this from, or provide an alternative if that helps. Okay, so here we are. Here we are. Broadcast should not pause. The same broadcast, but your video was interrupted. Ready to continue, of course. Why not? That's up here. So good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. How has your Friday been? I like to check up about your Fridays. I know that a lot of people who work in Lagos look forward to Friday a whole lot, for different reasons, of course, but one of the most important reasons is because you can have some time to rest. Anyways, let me tell you, it's not a general thing, because it's if your work gives you Friday as a rest and gives you Saturday as a rest day. Coming from my background as a journalist, I know that there is nothing called a day where you are resting. When news beckons, you answer. When news coughs, you catch cold. And it's always a joy. So today I want to talk about consistency, and we're still in the RCV's 8th year anniversary. Like doing this today, it's the power of consistency. You know, when you're not a consistent person, you always look for the best conditions for you to be able to do something. You have excuses. Oh, there is ram on the road. Oh, there is goats in the street. Oh, there is chimpanzee on the. And one of the things I've noticed about life is excuses are part of life. They will always accompany life to a large extent. So if you don't know where to keep excuses, you might not be a go-getter the way you should be. I teach character development, so I know that the C called consistency is a major when it comes to anything that we do. It's our anniversary month. Last week we had planned that as a team we'll come and do some chit chat and everyone would that was on Friday, but thankfully we were able to do something not too far from it on Saturday. We called that one the Trust Capital Chat. By the way, the Trust Capital Chat is just one of the ways that we give expression to what is supposed to become the Trust Capital Conference that is in the making. So I tell people each time they ask me, when I don't have money yet and I have an idea, what should I be doing? There's always what you can be doing. I tell some of them, put your thoughts to paper. You can start committing your thoughts to paper. You can start trying to understand the vision in depth, research. And do you know the thing about research? It's never ending. You can never get to that point where you already have researched everything you need to know about a project that you're doing. No. You never. So I tell people, be researching. Look for different areas from year 1 to year 2 to year 3, build up to year 10. If you want to do year 50 of the. By the time you launch research into whatever you're doing, particularly if you want to do something differently, you won't all your research. You won't just come and say, everybody's selling pure water. Me too, I've shown up, oh, I want to produce pure water. You will just be one of the everybody. But you want to be anything different, you start with research. RCV is in its 8th year and I'm grateful for the vision, I'm grateful for the team, I'm grateful for the journey. But I remember clearly that I always tell the story of 1 full month of research. But it's not like research has ended, it's just that was groundbreaking. It was like breaking the grounds and seeing how big is this thing? How far can it take anyone? Who are the clients? How can we enter the market? And so many questions. Every day I'll go to that cyber cafe. It's at Gobi Plaza. And I remember my very dear sister, she's a barrister. What's her name again? I know she's August. Is it Augusta? Yeah, that's me, because she was born August 3rd, interestingly. We share the same birthday, and her name is Augusta. She bears the name that follows the month. Okay, so Barrister Augusta had a place there at Gobi Plaza around Celiat, where she had, as part of other things that she was doing, she had a cyber cafe. That's how it was called. I don't know if cyber cafes still exist. If they do, they are probably not too loud anymore, or they evolved into some other kind of businesses. I don't know. So that was in 2014, 2015. It was in 2014 that the idea of RCV hit me powerfully. I had been praying and asking God, oh, I'm turning 40. How am I sure what I'm supposed to be doing for the rest of my life? Or how am I sure what the next phase of my life should be like? So that started the journey. Was a search. God came through for me the first week of October. He came as a flash, but I could tell clearly that something had dropped on my spirit, on my mind, and in every way I can find it. So next thing was, oh, who are those doing this that I know? So I started looking for who is doing what I wanted to do, combing online. I'll never forget, the first things that will pop when you try to do a search on character is you see federal character. And I know that in Nigeria, federal character means something entirely different from what I was looking for. So that one came tops all of the time when you try to do a search. The search engine automatically optimizes that federal character commission, and everything having to do with federal character, which is peculiar to us here in Nigeria. But then I began to, because I knew what this was supposed to be. Who is doing this? Then the who is doing this didn't get an answer directly in the search. I eventually started getting answers when I asked that the search engine took me beyond Nigeria. Yeah, so it was then I got to know about character first. And by the way, I got the book that this year is a huge year. I've been wanting this book since 2014. Yes, I got to know about the book in the month when I was researching about how to go about RCV. I need to be sure that anyone is able to follow me. I cannot see anybody following me. So if you can see me, just do a hi so that I am sure that I have not been recording myself. Okay, so I'm talking about the power of consistency. Someone can say, your company is just 8 years old, you are talking about consistency. Do you know what will happen? No. Another lesson that I've learned is to take things in your strides. A lot of people might not commend your efforts. They might not even understand why you are stressing. Like, why should anybody choose to suffer? But I have enough understanding to know that many of the great guys, great companies that we know and see today had gone through this as well. And I know that you should safely give yourself a 10-year gap or mark when you are running with anything entrepreneurial, particularly if you're in the knowledge industry. If you're not selling something very popular, like in our case, it's not popular but it's useful. It's not popular but it's useful. Now, this video, don't be asking me to continue or to remain. It does not concern you. Just stay where I put you. So, as I was saying, it's been interesting. It's been interesting. Consistency. What is consistency? I'll just give you my own definitions because I've interfaced with many of these words for 8 years that I'm beginning to generate my own definitions or explanations for them. So consistency is continuing in something that's worth doing, so you don't get consistent with something wrong. That's the negative part. So I'm talking about positive consistency. Consistency that is productive is continuing in doing something that is worth the while, positive, without allowing yourself to be debarred, distracted, or sent back by obstacles. So consistency helps you look at obstacles and look at them like they are stepping stones, launch pads that help you to go up there. So consistency. In the story of RCV, because this month is our anniversary, and if you don't tell your story, nobody might tell you for you. These are not the days when you are waiting until one media house, you carry mic and camera and come and say, we are looking for somebody to speak with. Tell your story. Online, you are being audited. So if you wonder why this is important, that is what it is. Grateful to God for the starting. So as of 2014, the idea dropped and research was instituted. It was for an entire month, all through the month of November. So this November month is very, all through the month of November, I went to that cyber cafe every morning. I closed every 3 o'clock to go and pick the children. That was why I even closed at 3. I mean, it wasn't that I was building myself to have a civil service mindset. I had to go and pick the children. And picking the children was very important to me at that point because I had not had a life where I could pick my children from school. So it was major. I was coming from a place in career journey where I couldn't tell how my children came back from school, literally. Not because I'm a careless mother, but because the job didn't give me the benefit to see the house in the afternoon. You know, I'll say, village really lost on the day. You can't tell the story. So, except when you're on leave, yes. So, it was important, the research to this journey. Because I can literally say when it's time to shift into a new horizon. I'll also talk about consistency in running the RCV vision in terms of the type of trainings that we do. Yes, so we do customer service training, awesome. We do leadership, but with a different tilt, awesome. But our main is character development. Like you can see, it was Jeffrey Tepu that got me this. I'm not too quick to call myself a coach because I'm a learner. But he got me this, and I've come to like the dress a lot. We are into character development. And I imagine how people are always wondering, you people are teaching people how to have character. Well, at 8, there are still people who wonder, how does this relate to corporate life? It goes without saying. I was at Lee Adesoya's leadership boot camp, and people were taking their own sessions, and I heard them talk about empathy. The woman who was talking about emotional maturity, she mentioned empathy. I'm like, and people say they don't know what character development is, and they don't know how it relates. She mentioned empathy, she mentioned many of those aspects. Then when the man who was talking about the leadership algorithm for the future came again, he mentioned. So every time people went into that space, I told myself that it's just that identity is still an issue. So a major aspect of the work that we'll be doing in the years ahead is really helping people to identify, because you need to be able to identify what's happening to you for you to be able to take care of it, whatever it might be. So I'm talking about consistency. It is continuing, consistency, continuing in spite of obstacles. So the fact that you are consistent does not mean that you have not faced obstacles. It means that you have used the obstacle as benchmark. You have used them as stepping stone. You have used them as launch pad. So from being challenged or facing obstacles, you have moved. You have literally moved into the next phase. You have used it as a lever to trust you, to give you an upward trust. Consistency is very important. So something happened recently, and I had to make it a teaching point that when you don't have the power to do something the way you've always done it, or there are reasons why you shouldn't, I will advise, I have learned to still do it in a small form. So let's take NCPS, our National Character Parenting Summit, for an example. In 2020, there was COVID. Nobody planned for COVID. Nobody prayed for COVID. Nobody wished for COVID, but COVID showed up. Everything from February, March in Nigeria, there was gradual technical shutdown here and there, and then there was a full shutdown, and people had to be staying in their house. You have to learn to love your family by force and everything, for those who didn't love their family before. And we went through that. And by August, we were supposed to host National Character Parenting Summit. So when it was May, there were questions around, are we going to host NCPS this year? And we received energy from what we had seen other people around us do that. Yes, you could go ahead and do NCPS and make it fully virtual. Interesting. As God will help us, towards August, working, that's to tell you that if you are consistent, don't try to figure everything out in your head as you are starting, because we couldn't tell whether they already would have released us to be going anywhere we like. But they were doing gradual release. They were easing up. They say more than 50 people cannot gather, more than this cannot gather. So we are doing that point where I think they allowed like 20 people or so. That made us able to have the team that we needed to launch and host a virtual event. Otherwise, today, how will you be able to say that NCPS is 9? At all. So that your story is not truncated. So that your narrative does not have, because you have the power to make continuity work. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to be easy, and I'm not saying that it's going to be fun all the way. But I'm saying that when you are intentional, you understand the game, you can always stay ahead of challenges. And that's how go-getters are made. That's how people play lead roles in the life of others are made. Because if you're already confused, if you're down and you're out, you can't inspire nobody. You can't even inspire yourself. Talk less of inspire another person. So consistency is very important. Now, my marriage also clocked 19 on October 30th. Again, somebody who is 50 years in marriage will say, 19, what? We have seen people who broke up at 20 and all that. It is true. It is very true. But again, if anything is helping you and you are 50 in marriage and you have never hosted a live show to teach people what help you, you are wrong. Because you see, whatever help you have received, you must learn to understand that the people coming behind you they need to live on some of the things that you have learned. They may not have to copy you hook, line, and sinker. Their own journey might be different, but they can glean from your experience. So one of the reasons why I tell stories is not because I feel that the years are so big, I must push them in people's faces. Is that I do not appreciate the ones that went ahead of me and didn't tell their stories. Because maybe I would have had it better. Whoever they are, whatever aspects of life that might be. So I belong to the tribe of people who tell their stories to help others coming behind me. It's always the reason. It's always the reason. So I did a caveat before I did the 3-part series and said, I'm not saying anybody should follow this, but these are the things I've learned. Learning consistency in marriage, 19 years and counting. And I went from the fact that, you see that, I love you, and someone will say, I love you, Ironla. I mean, I'm not saying that I belong to the school of Ironla, but I'm saying that there are moments when emotions are just, they are on their own. But the continuous commitment to what both of you have committed yourself to is the only thing that holds the marriage or the relationship at those times. So I can go from talking about marriage, consistency shows in relationships, consistency shows in family, consistency shows in workplaces, consistency shows in running a business. In every area of life, consistency is a demand. Why is it a demand? Because when athletes are running, it's their consistency that keeps them on the track until they get to the finishing line, they breast the tape and they win. Imagine someone saying, I'm done being consistent, Joe. This race is too tedious. And they just decide to stop. And they are hailing themselves. How on earth can that person ever clinch the trophy or wear the medals? It becomes far-fetched for them. So the things we see in our physical life and environment, they teach us something about life and destiny. If we pay close attention, we can draw lessons and see that, oh, I need to be consistent. That's what I thought I should share today. Consistency has played a huge role in RCV. Consistency has played a huge role in my life. Consistency has played a huge role in trying to build a certain kind of company. If I were to start that one story, we will not be out of here today. Because you see, the fight for the life and the soul of what you want a company to be is the biggest that any entrepreneur must, you must embrace it. If you don't embrace it, you are gone. You are gone. And you will never be able to blame any single individual for making the tables turn the way it was not intended. So there's always vision at the beginning. There's mission statement. There's core values. Those are things that as you do research, you want to start a business, you begin to say, okay, this is what this business is about. This is how we want to go. These are the guiding principles of values. But as you go on and you begin to bring team members in, they may have been, at the beginning, they may join at any level. People join at different levels of the organization. You must, as a leader, I found out, you must, as a leader, continue to fight for the soul of the organization. What do I mean, the soul of the organization? The very things that make that organization what it is. Because individuals, like I'll teach in my culture classes, come with their different upbringing, different viewpoints, different desires, different perspectives, and everybody comes together into one organization. You have to create a template that helps everyone become, because the company needs them to become. And if it's positive becoming, they could even take that away also as a live benefit. So the point I'm making is that consistency plays a huge role, and there will always be challenges around being consistent. I can teach that one. There'll be challenges around being consistent. There'll be moments when you don't feel like being consistent, but you have to consistently remain consistent at those moments when you don't feel like being consistent. Yes. Sounds like play on words, but absolutely meaningful and truthful. You have to learn to keep going. Many of the people who have jumped ship when it comes to their relationships today, it didn't mean that their relationship couldn't have worked. I've come to find out that some relationships could have worked, but consistency was what was missing. In some relationships, it wasn't meant to work. So I'm talking about the ones that could have worked if only consistency was given its pride of place. So consistency is crucial. If you're wondering, oh, RCV, happy 8th anniversary, it has taken consistency to do things the right way, consistency to insist that others also do things the right way, doing it also by yourself and seeing others through doing it, consistency in saying that this is the pattern, consistency in saying that this is the culture, consistency in saying that this is how we do this. It has been a huge plus to the organization. And so if you ask me that, what do we want to do more in the years ahead? We want to be more consistent. We want to see the Big 10 intact and profitable as an organization. We want to see the Big 15, the Big 20, the Big 25, the Big 30. We want to see an organization where people have been able to build the organization and they have built themselves while building the organization. That's the template I have always believed to work. And we want to see an RCV that is consistent with rewards, consistent with benefits, consistent with advantages. We want to see an RCV where there's a possible 360-degree engagement in terms of fulfillment. So inconsistency doesn't mean that you must continue to do the thing the same way. No, sometimes consistency challenges you to improve. So when excellence becomes something that your consistency embraces, then it's absolutely also awesome and beautiful. I have had a very amazing time today, and I have just crossed 5:30. If you do come across this video later on and you'd like me to talk to you on consistency the more, maybe in helping you at the workplace, help you with relating with people, because there is the consistency challenge about remaining yourself. Yes, There's a consistency of so many things, so many areas of life, so many areas. Consistency is cheap to say in the mouth, right? But doing it takes being intentional, and it takes the grace of God. I want to end on the note of grace. So when people interview, those of us who are journalists, when we interview people, we'll say, maybe if the person is a media, is a business person, you say to them at a point, have you ever felt like dropping the, what's that word? Is it throwing in the towel? Yeah. Have you ever felt like throwing in the towel? Interestingly, I have never felt like throwing the towel, because it's not like I know another thing. This is life for me. This is life. This is vision. Have I ever been hard pressed? Yes. But throwing the towel, no. Have I ever subjected the entire thing to holistic review all over again, like I wasn't sure? Yes. But throwing the towel, no. So I don't know, and I don't pray that I get to that point where people say they wished they wanted to throw in the towel. By God's grace, I have not gotten to that point. But I have reached points where I needed to ask people that have gone ahead in entrepreneurship and say, I just wanted to be sure that everything is okay. This is happening. Say, yes, continue. It's one of those things. And I'll just see my again. I'm like, okay, good. So, and I'll gather my strength again and keep going on. I really want to thank everyone who has been part of this ever since I started. My chat has been around the word consistency. It's a character trait, and I gave a simple explanation. You can go and do more research on it. You can go and see how consistency can help you win many of the life goals that you have set for yourself. One of the reasons why people's resolution remain resolution on paper is lack of consistency. But the senior brother of it is discipline, lack of discipline. Yes, because discipline makes you do what you don't want to do when you should do it. Like, there's a time you should do something. Discipline stands on your shoulders, on your neck, and say, go and do that thing. And you find yourself going to do it. So discipline is a major one. The year is ending. People are doing reviews. So people are patting themselves on the back and say, I tried. So people are saying, nah, nothing happened. Whatever it was either of two. You probably weren't disciplined enough to have put yourself in uncomfortable situations to do what you should do when you should do it. Or you started, you had that vibe, you had that energy, but you were not consistent. But guess what? Discipline helps consistency. Consistency helps discipline. Awesome. Thank you very, very much for being a part of this chat today. It is the Mind Your Character with Boss Olusola-Obasa time out, and today I decided to go the way of consistency, building up on our anniversary, which is in this month of November. And I've shared from the beginning, I've talked about the number of years not being the main thing. I've told you what consistency is. There will be obstacles, but be consistent. There will be moments, low moments, be consistent. There will be doubting moments, be consistent. There will be high moments, be consistent even when it's high. But please be sure that you are being consistent, doing what is worth a while. Remember, I added that to my explanation. Continuing in doing what is worth the while, what is worth it, what is right, in spite of obstacles. So that is a key word. Are you supposed to be doing that thing at all? Are you supposed to be in that team at all? Are you supposed to invest in that thing at all? Are you supposed to put your energy in that at all? Once you are sure, please stay consistent to it, because it will win. Consistency wins the race. Consistency wears the crown. Consistency breaks the tapes. Consistency wears the medal. Consistency wears the garland. It is consistency that makes you reach your goals. It is the end of the year gradually. We're entering a new year. Whatever you could or could not do this year is not an issue. But as we enter into the new year, please carry consistency with you. It's a very, very reliable partner. And I pray that God blesses all that you do. In the name of Jesus. Thank you, every single person, and ensure that you have a very beautiful weekend. And back to work on Monday. Be strong and ready to be consistent. Take care of yourself, and goodbye for now.